The Water Institute of Southern Africa, WISA, will host its biannual conference and exhibition 2018 in Cape Town from the 24th through the 27th of June later this year. Jason Mingo, WISA 2018 Technical Committee Chair and Project Manager in the Western Cape Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, says the meeting takes place amid growing concerns around the impact of climate change and the threat of more extreme weather events as the Southern Africa region faces increased uncertainty and vulnerability regarding water supply.
So the WISA conference itself is hosted every 2 years, and the Water Institute of Southern Africa, which is WISA, it's the largest professional body which represents professionals, organizations, institutions, and the government sector when it comes to elements and different aspects of water management. And what we've been trying to do with the WISA 2018 conference that's happening in Cape Town from the 24th of June to 28th of June this year is to try and look at, with the number of crises that are happening, and not only on our local doorstep and within South Africa, but if you look at the number of water crises that are happening globally, the water sector really needs to try and shift its stance, in a way, shift direction to be more engaging with a number of different other sectors as well. This speaks to sort of the spatial urban planning sector, it speaks to the agricultural sector, it speaks to the energy sector. And so it's how do we start promoting these kind of collaborations? How do we start promoting these transversal type of approaches? Which is a very easy thing to say, but it's very difficult when it comes to trying to implement those kind of things. And hence the theme of, breaking barriers and connecting ideas. It's a sense of trying to break down the sense of isolation that, if you can only really be in the water sector if you have kind of a technical expertise. But water, as we know, is so critical to everyday parts of our lives. So how do we start incorporating and getting involved more of the different types of disciplines and not just seeing water as a purely engineering field, but how do we start incorporating more of the social elements, more of the landscape design elements, systems thinking, process thinking as part of our water planning, water design strategies. And so that's really what the conference is trying to do, and it's trying to really promote this idea of, take challenging existing water professionals to think a little bit outside the box and challenge the status quo.
Now, Jason, the issue of the management of water has been there before water became a commodity. That's when the whole thing changed. Now, are we looking forward to making the water management situations, taking it back to where it was prior to it having become a commodity, in such a way that the communities were the ones who were in the forefront of managing water resources, and there were no problems in that situation, but the situation became only when this issue of water management becoming a commodity?
Yeah, so I think specifically within the South African context, fundamentally water is a basic human right. So the ideas of the commoditization or privatization of water, those kind of notions from the South African context are sort of not necessarily supported and not even based in our constitution. So like you said, it's around, okay, so where did we really go wrong in terms of this urban water management? And it really is about understanding that if we talk about whole of society approaches to managing water, not only when we're in a crisis, but more broadly, just to ensure that we protect the resource, it speaks to the shift that is required to say, how do water managers, water specialists in the disciplines and fields, how do we start engaging with communities at that base level where it's on the ground, it's in the communities, and understanding the challenges they're facing, and working with communities, working with the whole of society. So this element of working with government, working with private sector, working with the research sector, but critically, how do we bring communities as part of that and to start addressing the challenge? The WISA, in its recognition of that, is saying, well, WISA as a conference, it can't just be about the water professionals. So as part of the conference, we are looking at having an open session where we're going to invite the public to come into the exhibition space of the conference and sort of be able to inform the public, let them experience what are the new technologies and innovations, and I suppose in a way also challenge some of the water managers that are there saying, as a community, we have these problems, we want to come up with a solution, can you help us? And it's to try and drive those sort of conversations and that kind of networking that's so important with a conference such as the WISA 2018 conference.
Now, Jason, what would be the major challenge now? Because, most communities have been isolated from the management of some of these natural resources as it is with water. Now, bringing them back into the fold, what would be the major challenges?
Well, I think we always kind of talk about what are, the technical solutions and the technological advancements that are really able to be able to support those communities that have essentially been cut off from some of the developments and sort of the bulk infrastructure developments that have been ongoing for the majority of the country. So within the borders of South Africa, we have the capacity and the expertise available to come up with those solutions. So that, in a way, is almost the easy part. The difficult part is how do we implement those solutions? So what processes are needed, what structures are needed to be able to drive the implementation of that? And again, it speaks to kind of working with the communities. So this is also, why it's so exciting to actually be as part of the water sector at the moment. Given the emphasis that's being put on the drought, I think it has raised a lot of issues that, people, Cape Town is talking about day zero, but we appreciate the fact that there are communities within South Africa that are living day zero scenarios every day. And it's brought light to that fact. And I think a big challenge for the water community going forward and a big challenge for WISA is to recognize the role that we need to play to engage with those communities and to ensure that the technological solutions and advancements that are being made and that we have, we can try and adapt those to solve those kind of communities.
That was Jason Mingo, WISA 2018 Technical Committee Chair, speaking there to Wandile Kallipa. Brings the time to 20 minutes before 2 o'clock.